This isn't just another podcast. We're crushing the taboos and we're rewriting the rules. It's the space where we normalize women becoming wealthy. If you're done playing small and ready to become the CEO of your life and the architect of your future, then my girl, you're in the right room. Welcome to your wealthy era. Welcome to the Wealthy CEO podcast.
Welcome back to the Wealthy CEO podcast. Today's episode is going to feel like a behind the scenes masterclass in building a business with soul. I'm sitting down with Tanya Kololian and Zoë Paliare, two powerhouse women who left high performing careers to create something truly transformative, Trove. In under a year, they've built one of Toronto's most influential and elevated wellness brands. And today we're going deep on the mindset, the strategy, and the sisterhood behind it all. Okay, today, this is a really special episode for me to be having you guys on. We are in the relaunch phase of the podcast. And the new name right now is the Wealthy CEO. And I'm so grateful and I'm so excited to welcome both Tanya and Zoë to the podcast.
Thank you. Congratulations. And thank you so much for having us.
Yeah. It's so good to have you guys here. You guys are the first ones in studio. And there's so much stuff I want to unpack with both of you today. But before we dive into the business and the badass co-founders that both you ladies are, I want to honor your journey and a little bit about where you guys both started, because you both didn't just start in the wellness industry. You came from different corporate backgrounds and you found yourself in wellness. So Tanya, do you want to start with just like a little bit of your journey?
Sure, I would be happy to. Yeah, definitely a windy career path for sure. My first career was in teaching and education, and then I pivoted into the nonprofit world where I was working for an organization and became one of the lead fundraisers. And it was my introduction into sales. And I loved it.
Yeah.
And then I sold my soul to the devil and I moved into the commercial real estate space.
It's not that bad. I mean, it's worse than residential real estate. I'll give you that. Like, come on, it's not that bad.
I went from raising funds for childhood cancer research to, selling office space. There was a big pivot.
That's true. Okay.
And in that time frame, I mean, it was a long time frame that sort of weaved itself through all of those career paths. But I went on my own wellness journey. Mm-hmm. And where I am today is very much inspired by my personal journey and that thread that weaved through all of those moments. I lost 130 pounds, overcame panic disorder and depression. Mm-hmm. And, while those are like big milestones and achievements, I think the thing that like really stands out to me is the journey. Yeah. And it's so cliche, but it's so true. And, the parts of myself that I had the privilege of meeting through both of those journeys and my exposure to different wellness modalities in the process and my ability to, I put it in quotes, but like to have success in both areas was really a result of so much privilege and access to so much support. And it made me really passionate about sharing those resources and sharing the opportunity for other people to find mental and physical health within themselves. And so while I was working in commercial real estate, which was my last career before the pivot to where we are now, I was actually working with Zoë, who at the time was my coach.
Oh, cool.
And the question that just kept coming up for me in our work together was, I know that I want to be in the wellness space, and I know that I'm meant to be in the wellness space, and my life's purpose is in the wellness space. And I didn't face these dark chapters just for my own learning.
Sure.
But I don't know what it looks like. And so I stayed in that for a long time. And then one day had the whole vision for Trove. I was out on a run and it was an experience unlike anything I've ever had before. And it was just such a deep knowing that this was the next step.
I love that. And I'm going to pause. We're going to leave everyone in suspense what this next step was. Zoë, tell us a little bit about your journey and hold your thought, because we're going to come back to that run and where you guys are today.
Well, the best is all full circle to it at the end of mine. So,
Yes, okay.
So I started out in law. I was a litigator, and I came to realize that it just wasn't my calling. I'd started to get into wellness as I was kind of tying up my time in law to support myself. I had found kind of like a flow restorer that I found really supportive. And so it would be the thing that would like help me transition from, I'm going to say week into weekend in quotations, because weekends don't really exist in law. But,
They don't in real estate either.
yeah, exactly. It was kind of just like like mentally, I feel like at least now I can work on my own time in my own home. And coming out of that, I became a coach and really started to explore ways to support myself in kind of coming back from that really intense corporate grind.
Sure.
And also began what has been a 8-year-long fertility journey. And so was exploring different ways to support myself also through that journey. And over the course of this time, started talking to my husband about this idea that I had for a wellness space that felt like the thing that I needed that I couldn't find anywhere.
Interesting.
Yeah. So had been kind of having this conversation as I navigated the next chapters of my career, which always involved coaching in some way, but included like leading a practice for a venture fund and leading coaching and learning and development and performance management for a law firm, and then eventually leading to the moment that Tanya shared her vision with me.
So you had your vision and you were already like in coaching with Tanya, like you were already a client of Zoe's, but you hadn't shared this exchange yet, which is kind of cool, right? Like it's like manifested in both of you
Big time.
kind of at the same time.
Yeah.
Well, so just to give a bit of background, so Zoe and I have actually known each other since I was 16.
Okay.
So there's a sort of a long friendship, I would say, like not a close friendship. Like we were often in the same social settings. Our lives kind of, ebbed and flowed and always magnetized to one another, I would say. But not super, super close, which I think was also part of the magic. And so for me, what happened, I had this vision, and then a week later we were on our coaching call, and I had already started to implement this vision because it just had to exist, and I couldn't stop thinking about it. And like I said, it was just such a deep knowing.
Yeah.
And so I was sharing with Zoe on that call, I was like, for however many months we've been working together, and I've been saying, I know I need to be in the wellness space, but I don't know what that looks like.
And just for context, is this 2019, 2020? When is
2021.
2021.
Fall of 2021.
Okay.
And October to be exact. And so on that call, I remember saying, like, I figured it out. Like, this is the thing.
And my jaw was on the floor as she was describing it to me, basically verbatim the exact vision that I had been describing to my husband, Adam.
That I had obviously never heard, right? Like
Sure.
that was between Zoe and Adam.
Yeah. And so I kind of had this moment of pause, like coaching is for the client, not the coach. And so I really had to kind of think like, what do I do with this?
Sure.
And I ended up sharing with her that I had had the same vision and dream. And that was it. That was it.
I don't know if I knew how that actually pieced together, which is pretty incredible. Like that's remarkable.
It is. I think, one of the questions I get often, I don't know if you do, but maybe you do also, I'm sure you do, is how did you pick your co-founder?
Right.
And I didn't.
Yeah.
Like this was all divinely orchestrated.
Totally.
And the fact that we both had the exact same vision and both have our own personal story and relationship to wellness and how a space like Trove actually was the thing that we both needed and couldn't find is such an important foundation of what we have built and what we're building.
Yeah.
Because there's never a moment where we have to convince one another that this is a good idea. There's never a moment where one of us is more all in than the other.
Yeah.
Like it was a vision that we were both given.
Yes.
And we have the privilege of being people that are capable of bringing that to life.
It is very evident that the mission called you. Like this was so much bigger and deeper than just an idea. You know, people have ideas all the time, but like the fact of how you guys were woven together, brought together, and like you can very much see that. And when I think of your guys' backgrounds, coming from more corporate and business, very heavily male dominated, even, right? A lot of masculine energy, and making this shift and desiring to be in something, but not having that full experience, right? Like you have your own personal experience, which I always say is so powerful because that's the one thing people can't take away from you. They can't tell you you're wrong. You live that experience and you know that. So you should own that. It's part of your power. But I can hear some people like hearing your story and going, well, I didn't have that vision. And so I just have this imposter syndrome because I didn't have somebody else to validate or affirm that this is what I should be doing. And so when I think of your shift 180 and like to both of you, how do you, even though you know, there's like this deep knowing, like you have to birth this, you have to bring it to life. Is it going to be perfect? Probably not. Is it going to go the way that you planned? Probably not. But you learn along the way, but you have this certainty, but there's probably still like imposter syndrome somewhere that comes up every now and then. Did you experience any of that? And you can say no.
Yeah, no, I was going to say, I don't think imposter syndrome was the thing.
Yeah.
The one thing that I'll say that's like really coming up for me as you're asking this is the thing for me that allowed me to be all in and like no matter what this was happening was ignorance and a total lack of experience.
Sure.
I had no operational experience. I had no idea what I was doing. I had no idea what it was going to take. And I was so delusionally committed as soon as I had the vision. Like I was quitting my job.
Right.
We didn't have anything.
Right.
Because I just couldn't not do this.
Right.
So there wasn't really a lot of space or room for the imposter.
Well, because your conviction outweighed it.
But it really did. Yeah. And my delusion and my ignorance.
Yeah.
Like knowing what I now know.
Right.
I ask myself this a lot, like would I have done it?
Yeah.
And the answer is absolutely, but I can't really see a world in which I would have made that decision so quickly.
Sure. Yeah.
And I mean, the immediate yes with Zoe would have just been an immediate yes, but I think the kinds of conversations we would have been having early on would have been completely different.
And for you, Zoe?
There's definitely a lot of the same. I never had imposter syndrome in the knowing that we could do it. Like I always was really clear that we could do it, which
and that's coming from someone who had operational experience, just for the record.
And a franchise, right? Like you've also done that. Like,
right. Yeah. I didn't include that in my, there have been many twists and turns in my career, but yes, I also am a franchise owner and I used to own one, sold one, now still have one franchise of a laser and wax bar. And so, yeah, I did have operational experience and I had opened a physical business. And still there's so much complexity to what we're doing. And also it's different when you get a playbook from someone than when you actually have to create the playbook. And definitely a lot of delusion in there of like no hesitation in no lack of confidence that we were fully capable of doing it. I think for me, there's been a journey of embodying the reality that we did it.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's interesting that you use the word delusional and ignorance. And I think ignorance in this is more like you don't know what you don't know. And ignorance is bliss, right?
Absolutely.
So you can like jump in and you're like face the uncertainty, knowing like there's so many things you don't know. You're aware of that and you're going to learn it. but you both are two people that live in the realm of intention. Like Trove didn't just happen, right? Like there's visions, but then there was a lot of behind the scenes of reworking. And, fun fact and sidebar, but Tanya and I used to live together in Nosara. And during that time, her on her laptop, coming up with dealing with the copywriters and like what the mission's going to be and the brand name and like finding a place and like not good enough and a lot of things behind the scenes. So like I know firsthand that you guys built this still with intention as much as it can feel delusional. And so walk us through some of that, because I think when you have an idea to bring it to where it is now, like, I'm going to actually go back to what you were saying. Like, if you knew what you knew now, like, would you have done certain things differently? And thinking from like a business owner to business owner listening right now, because you guys are on this mission to build not just Toronto's, newest wellness landmark. I know you have vision to go beyond borders.
Yeah.
What would you say to business owners that are looking to birth something like this? Or not even wellness, but just in general.
I'm actually really proud of how we've built this. And I think one of the things that, I hear it in Zoë saying, like, taking the time to embody what we've actually built, because every once in a while we have these moments where we're like, we did it. Like, we did it, because it's so easy to get caught up in the day-to-day of what the business requires. I mean, we're brand new and we're growing.
Sure.
So it's easy to forget to celebrate where we are already. Yeah. But we have had moments of intentionally looking back. And the place that we started, our very first meeting actually in October when we came together to start building this, was from the place of asking ourselves, what company values do we want this company to have? And fast forward, 3 years from that moment, not quite, but plus 4 years plus. Our values are almost identical to what we came up with in that first meeting. And the way that we built this, and I appreciate the reflection that there was so much intention, because they're really, like, we were so intentional about it.
Everything.
Is every single moment we came back to, who are we, what are we doing, and what are our company values? And the thing that will, I have full body chills. Like, I'll never really, be able to put words to the degree of magic, was every single person who touched Trove from that first meeting where we were, deciphering what our values were going to be, to opening, whether it was our construction team, our copywriters, our, for the most part, web developers, our construction team, our design team, project management team. These were people who were so good at what they did, and they were so kind, and they were so all in on what we were building. And so I would honestly say, and maybe I'm remembering this with rose-colored glasses, so I'm curious what you would say, but from, okay, we're going to do this, to opening our doors, I don't know that we made that many mistakes. In our first 4 months of operating, we made so many mistakes. And it's really cool because, we're in this stage of growth and we're exploring, our next location. And
so exciting.
So we're in this really exciting time of remembering what, where are the opportunities to make sure that we do it differently this time.
Yeah.
And so those mistakes are really top of mind and really present.
Yeah.
And it's, again, rose-colored glasses, but thank God for these mistakes. Sure. Because they've really helped us, refine who we are, refine our offerings, and really, make sure that we're so committed and so clear to who we are in the market.
I love that. And you're the CEO, right?
Co-everything.
But I think it's really refreshing. The reason why I'm asking that, I'm not huge on titles, but there is a place for titles. You know, they do matter to a certain degree. But I'm sharing that because it's refreshing when you have co-founders and you have, I'll say, co-CEOs, you know, like who can sit and laugh and say, like, we made so many mistakes and thank God, right? Like, because that's not so many people's impression. And I often talk about like falling in love with failure and failing forward, you know, and the quicker you can get back up and learn the lesson and pivot and move on, the greater success you'll have. And I think that's a lot of what you guys embody within the business. It's like, do we want to make mistakes all the time? No. But when they happen, we're grateful that we get to learn. It's a learning opportunity to evolve and become better.
For
right?
sure. And if people are telling you that they're not making mistakes, then they're not looking.
Or lying.
Their rose-colored glasses are really rosy.
And if you're not looking and you're not willing to actually see where you're making mistakes and to make those shifts and pivots, then you're never going to grow. And you're never, I don't think, like I don't actually think success is possible without failure.
Yeah. And I mean, that's a testament to what you're saying, because most businesses, and I'm going to say, even if you haven't been, actually, you know what? Let's just take a sidebar commercial break. Can you tell us what Trove is? Why don't we just talk about what Trove is first?
Oh, yeah.
Because that thing, you guys all want to know what Trove is that we keep talking about, as I want to say the scaling part, but I'm going to come back to that. Would you just give us, what's the elevator pitch?
Oh man, yes. Forever impossible to put into words. It's a physical space. It is a wellness space where we have brought together all sorts of wellness offerings to support leaders and professionals through mind, body, and soul, through the lens of nervous system support. And so we've got a spa line where we offer facials and massages. We have a clinic offering where we have things like naturopathy and osteopathy and psychotherapy and hypnotherapy. We have a beautiful IV lounge where we offer IV drips and vitamin boosts. We have an incredibly intimate and beautiful full service studio where we offer yoga, breathwork, meditation, and sound healing. And we've also got a series of what we refer to as solo journeys, although you can do them with a friend or a partner, and make your way through our infrared sauna and cold plunge private space, our salt cave, our lymphatic compression suits, and our red light therapy bed.
And the journal nook.
And the beloved journal nook.
Yeah. Place for reflection.
So it's really like heaven on earth.
It really is like heaven on earth. And it's a place for frequent travelers to come and support their immune systems to really come back to center and ground themselves. It's a place for busy moms to come and parents to take care of themselves. It's a place for people who are on the verge of or burnt out to come and really heal their nervous systems. It's a place for athletes to come and repair. So it's like so many different things to so many different people. And actually it can be something different to the same person one day to the next.
Yeah. And even to self.
Yeah.
Right? Like some days it's retreat, other days it's recalibrate, rejuvenate. I'm doing all of the R's, but that's really what
rest, recover,
I mean, all of it.
Absolutely.
For sure. And actually something that I think is so important that has felt really important and intentional to us is a lot of wellness spaces feel really transactional. And we really wanted to design a space where people felt cared for from the moment they first interacted with our team. And so, you know, I had a really powerful healing session at Trove yesterday, and I was like lying in this bed in a room, and the person I was working with, who's actually our coach, said, "Okay, what do you need now after this session?" And I was like, "I need a lemon glow smoothie with greens, please." And like 10 minutes later, it was in the room. You know, it's like to that level. And not because I'm a founder, because that's the experience that anyone gets to have.
I love that. Well, if you're in Toronto and you're listening to this and you haven't been to Trove, you definitely need to go. It is the retreat in the city. There's no question about that. And I'm like an ambassador for Trove. I love Trove. I love you ladies. And so thank you for that commercial break, because I was like, we need to break this down. We're going to start talking about Trove, and nobody knows exactly what we're talking about. I needed to pause just for a quick second. If you are loving this conversation and thinking every woman needs to hear this, you are right. So please hit that subscribe button, drop me a review, and help me flood the algorithm with real talk that actually matters. Let's get more women into their wealthy era together. Your support means so much to me. And exciting news, if you're not in Toronto, this is where we took our break from, you guys are already looking at expansion, which is really a testament to what you've built, because that is not normal on this scale. How many square feet are you?
5,000.
Yeah, like 5,000 would be considered like a mansion size home, like, right? Like it's a huge space. And to think that you're expanding, probably to expand your footprint a tad, I would think. And maybe in the US, other places in Canada, but you don't just get there without the lessons. So I'd love to hear, like, what has been some of your biggest lessons in birthing and building Trove?
Oh, what a great question.
Mm-hmm.
Well, one that really stands out to me is how important it is to take care of our own well-being in the process of building a wellness business, for two reasons. One that, has become so obvious, which is how out of integrity it is actually to build a wellness business without being in a place of supporting our own wellness.
Mm-hmm.
Integrity is one of my personal core values and also one of our Trove values. And it's become such an anchor at any moment when I feel like I'm kind of tethering, on that feeling of burnout, to really, really pause and take a hard look and ask myself what I really need.
Mm-hmm.
We both did, and I'll let Zoe share her own experience or answer to this question, but in the build of Trove, I broke. I actually think that's the only word. It was so far beyond burnout. I realized in our opening week that I was in a deep state of depression. I hadn't moved my physical body in a long time in an intentional way, which is something that's really important to me.
Sure.
And what became so obvious from that chapter was how much the business requires us to be our best, and how much the business, I mean, it's bigger than that, because it's what our life has actually demands of us.
Right.
And so I remember coming out of that chapter and just making a promise to myself and our team that I would never allow myself to get back to that state of burnout again. And I'm so grateful to have the space that has supported us in
right,
putting us back together,
yes.
actually. And we had this acknowledgement with one another in this conversation last week, where it was like, wow, like it's taken a year to come back.
Yeah.
And I'm so grateful to Zoe, who's always there reminding me and encouraging me and giving me full permission to take whatever it is that I need in these moments. And sometimes it can be so hard to look at, the to-do list in front of you and to see the demands of a 60-person team.
Right.
And know that, we're in a moment of growth and also kind of survival and expansion and growth. And,
yes.
And so, how do you take the time away to really, fill this way first? And it's just become so obvious time and time again that it's the most important thing, and it's actually non-negotiable. And even though in that short moment it might feel like you're taking from the business,
right,
it's actually the most powerful way to give everything it needs back to it.
I agree. I mean, most people listening know that I'm in real estate. You coming from real estate know, like, it's very high demanding. And, we have a team of, 13 agents, and most agents are living not knowing when they're going to have their next deal. We're commission based, right? So, and that could be 3 months out that you get paid on a deal, could be 6 months out. And so agents have a tendency to say yes to everything. Yes, 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 yes. And I have always tried to encourage and lead by example as well, but saying like, you are your most important client first. And you've got to set firm boundaries around that. How to structure your days so that you get what you need so that then you can show up and be the best version of yourself for everybody else in the world. And then even if you're not in business, that goes the same thing if you're a parent, if you're a spouse, you're a sibling. Like the best versions of us always show up once we've actually been able to minister to us first, nourishing, sleep, fuel, water, hydration, moving our bodies, meditation, our brain, like all of these things, right? And I'm preaching to the choir because you guys have built the sanctuary so that people can come and recalibrate and reconnect with self in order to be able to do all of this and be their best version of themselves. So I'm sure you have enough pushing the limits, growth edges, and lessons in building Trove. What comes up for you with that?
So I will really echo a lot of what T said, and don't need to kind of go into the same lessons I think we learned. I too broke.
Sure.
And I think what's really been so beautiful is the way that we've kind of been putting ourselves back together with this knowing that that can't happen again. And that the thing that's most important is that we're well and able to fuel the continued growth and support of the business and the team. Yeah. The other thing I think that is really present for me is if you're building something new, there's just so much that you can't know, and you can't know what you don't know. Sure. So really there's a part of it that's like you're kind of doing your best to prep and to think about, okay, what are these roles and what's going to be required of these different people and what are the things that we need in all of it. And then you really have to be willing to look at what you put together before you started as you're growing to say what's working and what's not working and where do we need to shift and where do we need to pivot and, all of that. And if you're not consistently doing that, it makes it really hard to be both responsive to the needs of the team and making sure that they're really set up for success, and also to be responsive to the needs and desires and feedback of your clients and what they are sharing with you. And so it's something that's been a huge part of our journey. Yeah. And a really big, I think, learning was how much things would shift as we went. Mm-hmm.
So I want to pull back the curtain a little bit on when you guys were building, because you're two women in business. That's a challenge in of itself. Mm-hmm. Just being women in business, but never mind being like co-founders and actually building a thing. And so when I think of building like a multi-million-dollar company and doing seed funding and rounds and looking for capital and marketing and knocking on doors, has your experience been challenging? And I don't want to say like for women, but for women, like, and do you feel that if you guys were two men being co-founders, would the lift off have been any easier?
Yeah, for sure. And I think
I'm so glad that's on video, like your face. Yeah.
And I think you'll agree with this, but coming back to the delusion that it took to actually do this, like, going to be the same thing I was going to share. I know, I was in the venture capital space coming into this, so I know women get, I don't know exactly what the number is right now, but I think 2%.
Less than 2%.
Of all venture capital.
Right. It's wild.
Right?
You say that one more time.
Less than 2% of venture capital funding goes to female founders.
It's criminal.
I know.
Actually.
And I had the delusional belief that it was going to be different for us.
Right.
It was actually going to be easy for us, and everyone was going to be like, oh, of course I'm going to write you a check because what you're doing is cool. And,
and you're
I know
badass
that you're capable founders and all of the things. No. sometimes, yes, with people who we like know and love and
Sure.
trusted us and trusted our vision and all of that. But there were so many conversations where we really got put through the grinder. And we both know men who've raised capital and for whom it has looked very different. And so, yeah. And one of the things actually that I was thinking about earlier in the conversation about everything that I found so fascinating is, and I found we really only got this question from men, that they would ask, who's the ultimate decision maker? And our answer was both of us. And they were like, well, that actually can't be
happen.
the case.
Correct, yeah.
And we said, well, yeah, actually it can. And in our
Actually
case,
it
it is. And so they kind of were like, well, how do you do that? And we were like, well, we have really clear values and we articulated them from the beginning. And if there's anything, first of all, we're aligned because we're so aligned on this vision and we're so aligned on the purpose of what we're building and the impact that we want it to have. It's really easy to be aligned on almost everything. And in those little moments where we're not, we come back to our values and the values lead the way.
Right.
And it was, I have full goosebumps because it's like, it's such a new way of doing things.
Right.
And there were men who really had a challenging time wrapping their heads around that.
Well, of course, and even like, I'll just, not that I go into too much detail, but like, in my team, there's my father, my brother, and myself. And I say all the time to my dad, you can't have 3 CEOs. Like you can't have 3 decision makers. And so I'm sitting here chuckling because I'm acting like that man in that boardroom that you guys sat with or wherever you guys sat with him. And I'm also hearing how you guys have deconstructed that myth, because it is possible if you have this, you have an external, here are our values. This is like what we go by. And if it doesn't align with that, then it becomes a no. It's like, oh, that's really simple, right?
I also think, in this older model, I think there's a lot more ego. And I think because Zoe and I are both so clear that Trove doesn't belong to either of us,
Right.
that we were so fortunate to have the vision. And as I said earlier, are privileged to have the resources to make it happen, whether that's in the shape of the network, who are the people that we are so grateful for, who did, believe in us. Can I say it?
Sure.
Like you being our very first investor, which was so massive and we will never forget it.
Well, I love you guys and believed in what you were
and that's coming from the person who saw what was happening behind the scenes. So there was full open kimono, It was, I totally lost my train of thought. That I think that's a starting position, is that because we know that this is so much bigger than us, like it's, we've been able to take, and not always, and I don't want to pretend that, we haven't had our moments. Like we've, as any relationship does, like it has brought up a lot for both of us.
Sure.
But we don't make decisions for what is of self-interest.
Sure.
And we also work really hard on our partnership and invest so much time into making sure that it's always clean and clear, and that we are so aligned and that we're continuing to build, in the way that we've always committed to, and to check in, like things change along the way. It's like, are you still committed to growth? Like, do you still want to do this thing? Like we have one, are we good? And so it requires such a high level of communication, of trust, of integrity, of partnership.
Yeah.
And I actually think it's the foundation that allows for everything else.
Yeah.
So I want to ask you this question, just circling back really quick to the funding side,
Sure.
or like, the pitching side when you're building a business. You said less than 2% of women receive funding, female founders.
From VCs.
From VCs. So when you think of VC being venture capital, so when you think of that realm, how do we change that going forward? Is there a way to change that? Maybe there's not. But, and I mean, Zoe, I'll direct this at you because you lived in this world as well before birthing Trove. How do you see the future? I mean, one of my actually like my trademarks is the future of wealth is female. We are
It is.
coming up to a very historic moment in history where the biggest wealth transfer that's going to take place is going to be, I think it's over 60% or 80% is going to be female, which is
60.
Which is huge. Yeah, 60, right? And that's a massive amount that's changing.
Yeah.
So possibly we're going to see that shifting. Part of my intention behind this podcast that was birthed is, there's so many women who don't understand. You can have money and still not understand money, how to make it work for you, the compound effect, interest, like the language of money, the fluency of money, right? And that's kind of scary when you think of this major wealth transfer that's happening, going into people's hands that they'll receive it, probably not be able to hold it, and it'll go out. Not that I want to divert into that, but
No, it's a really important point. So I was really fortunate to lead the coaching and strategic advisory practice at a fund called Bright Ventures. It's an organization called Bright Ventures that has a practice, a fund, and a community. And one of the communities within Bright is a community of women in wealth. And it's something that was built for this reason. We talk about it a lot. It's women who are asset managers, wealth managers, run family offices, have family offices, and are navigating generational wealth.
right.
And it's been so fascinating to learn more about also in so many families that, and this is starting to shift, but historically, if women are brought into the fold in terms of managing family assets, it's often philanthropic assets. They're responsible for determining where their philanthropic capital will go or grant making or whatever, but not actually in the investment side and really understanding like how to find alpha and invest for a capital return. And so there are a lot of emerging, I think, groups and organizations that are doing a really wonderful job, like Bright, in bringing women together to have this conversation.
Right.
And then there are also emerging venture funds that have been focused on investing in women and people of color, both groups that historically have been underfunded. And not to get political, but like one of the challenges of the current political climate and actually like current political views on anything related to diversity, equity, and inclusion is that it's had the effect of actually slowing the progress on that front, because there have been funds that have come really under threat for the fact that they are moving in this direction and are trying to actually redistribute wealth to make sure that women and people of color are getting access to capital. Right. So it's a really interesting and challenging time in this space, I think.
Right. And
there has been progress and the needle has shifted. And so there was, a move from less than 1% of venture capital funding to 2% to it's risen, but we're in a really interesting moment in time where I think it'll be interesting to see what's happening now. I think one of the big things that can happen outside of like funds and VCs that are committed specifically to funding women is really for people to start to recognize that women are solving different problems.
Right.
And sometimes it requires using a different lens and actually being willing to see what's possible in a very different way, because it's one of the things that we came up against. Like people were like, what actually are you? Like, are you a studio or are you a clinic? And how do you actually think this is going to work? And you need too many practitioners, and how can you scale this way? Like the kinds of questions and concerns that people have are really coming from a place of like lack, fear, and not understanding that there's a new solution to a problem that has existed.
And when you say people, is it men and women, or is it predominantly one? Like, no, it's both.
I find it's both.
Yeah, I would say it's both. And I think, you touched on this at the very end. I agree with everything you just said. And I think your experience with Bright is such an unbelievably unique lens into it. It's been so just amazing to get to be a part of through osmosis. But representation matters. And I think one of the things that ultimately is going to move the needle, yes, the education component and the opportunities for women as they come into this wealth to learn, you know, ways that they can use it and grow it and all of the things that you've both talked about. And I think also, I mean, innovation, like look at, you know, Knix as an example, right? Yeah. No man is going to create a company because they need leak-proof underwear. Yeah. Right? Like Glossier is a company that is doing, like, I don't know their numbers, but here are these companies that are female founded. Right. It's a lot, you know, because they're solving problems for women. Right. And in terms of, I don't actually know these numbers either, but in terms of market spend, in terms, you know, it's a huge customer percentage, right? Obviously. Yeah. And so I think, you know, it's only going to become more and more relevant.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's interesting because as you're talking, you know, and I'm thinking about even what I was saying is that it can be scary, this wealth transfer shift happening. And if you don't understand the magnitude of what you're receiving, I think this has been historically why the percentage of VC funding has been lower, because obviously you're looking for a return on your money. Like if you're going to invest in something, like, yes, I love you guys. I love you, but I also don't want to like lose.
Yeah, you'd come as a customer. You're not going to write a check.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, like I don't want to like lose my money. You know, obviously that's part of the risk, but that's what you're assessing when you're like looking at something you should invest in. And so if in sitting with both of you, not thinking like, all right, I mean, obviously I knew your background, T, from, you know, us spending a lot of time together. And then, you know, Zoe, when, you know, through Tanya, of course, like learning who you are and your background, I felt confident knowing that like, okay, yeah, you know how to build things. You know how to operate things, like you've done it, you know, and then the vision combined with that.
Let's be clear, I've never done this.
I thought I had operating experience, and then I realized we're in a whole new game.
You're really special. So
thank you so much.
I knew I was very, very aligned and bought into the vision.
She was equally delusional.
Maybe that's true. I don't know.
Well, no, it's actually so teasing. We're all angel investors.
Yes.
And I think this is probably true for all of us, but I'm really curious. I'm going to put it out there. It's definitely true for me. I start with the founder. Yes. Like, do I believe in them? Uh-huh. Do I believe in what they're building? Do I believe in their vision? And do I believe that they have what it takes to see it through? Absolutely. Knowing that it will be hard. Like you asked earlier, what should people know? Like it's hard. Like it's actually not easy. Yeah. Like I think it's really easy to look at founders in the, you know, highlight reel of social media and be like, oh, that's so cool. This person built this company and this brand and like, I want to be a founder too. And great. There's so much that's amazing about it. And I wouldn't change a single thing and I would choose it 100 times over. And also it's not just glamour. Like there are crazy long hours and things that you have to figure out that you don't want to do. And there's all kinds of stuff that will get thrown your way. And so I feel like it is partially like you really have to believe in the team that's bringing the thing to life.
I mean, I very much agree with that. You know,
to the extent that, you know, as an angel investor, it, for me, exactly as you said, it starts with the founders and then the product, but there are now opportunities that, I mean, it's all Trove, but outside of Trove, you know, there are people that have asked me to look at some opportunities, and I really believe in the product, and I'm not sure about the founder, and I won't make that decision.
I agree. Well, you, Zoe, just alluded to that. Like execution is everything.
Everything.
There are millions upon millions of people sitting on multi-million-dollar ideas that will never come to life, you know, or they will start and they won't be able to see it through. And the, you know, success and the fortunes in the execution, like so much of it, you know. So both of those components are very important. So, which I feel like we should just have a whole other conversation. We could like go Joe Rogan right now and just like pivot and have this whole conversation on money, women, wealth building. But as we're kind of coming to like a close, I want to circle back just a little bit with you guys, bringing it kind of back to Trove when, you think about women who are wanting to build something, what do you want women to know about doing that inner work? How has that served you?
Oh, it's everything. I actually think that your willingness to do the work, and as deep as you're willing to go, and the more that you're willing to look at, equates to how much success is available for you.
I love that. So I have a different question for you. What's one piece of advice you'd give to a woman who's sitting on a bold idea but feels afraid to begin?
Baby steps. Bite-size it and just start with one tiny thing and just keep putting one foot in front of the other, like the next small thing, the next small thing, the next small thing, and just start seeing it come to life and then really evaluate, is this something that you actually want to build? There's no right or wrong answer.
Yeah. And giving yourself permission that it's okay to change your mind.
100%.
Right?
Yeah. And that if
happens too.
Yeah. And that if you do, like, keep going and find the people who will support you along the way and the people who've done it before, who so often are willing to give you advice and help you out.
I love that. Well, at the end of the show, I always like to ask it's called the wealth drop, the mic drop, the wealth drop. So I'm going to ask you both. You both can answer this. When you think of one piece of wealth wisdom that you'd want to pass down to the next generation of women?
Mine is start investing as early as possible. If it's $1,000, $100, it doesn't matter. Start investing as soon as possible. And every day that you're not invested is a day of money, so much potential lost. So the sooner the better, and start investing. And I mean, how to, like, well, simple. I'm only starting to use this platform in a new way right now, but there are so many easy tools out there that are starting to make it so easy. And so that would be my number one.
I love that. And I agree with that too.
Yeah, I really agree too. And I'll give a slightly different answer, which is find someone who you can trust, who can support you in thinking about how you want to invest and where you want to allocate your capital and different risk profiles and all of those things so that you can, like, just start to learn. There are so many free resources. And then you can invest in, meeting with a financial planner or that kind of thing, just to really understand. It's so easy to just not look at money because of fear or lack or, it feels overwhelming because you just don't even know where to start. So many people ignore it. And so the more that you actually just take that step to start to learn, the less overwhelming it's going to feel.
I love that. So powerful. The previous guest who came on had a question for you both without knowing that the question was for you.
Oh, wow.
Fun.
All right. So the question is, what is the truth that you are here to be for the world?
Love and light.
Really partly the same, but I'll add, like, infinite possibility.
I love that. I love that. Ladies, I love you so much.
Couldn't love you more.
And so grateful for how you both demonstrate love and light in the world and showing up and crushing, like, we can build this. All the possibilities are out there. How can people connect with you? Where can they find Trove?
Online, our website is trovewellbeing.com. To get in touch with our team, you can call us, you can text us, you can email us. On social media, we're Trove Wellbeing. My personal Instagram is TKO_coaching. Zoe's is Zoë Paliare.
Which that'll be in the show notes too. We're going to link everything up so you won't need to.
Yeah. And we love connecting with people. And for the purposes of this show, we really love connecting with women, especially women who are either in the active pursuit of these bold ideas or sitting on bold ideas. We actually if I may,
Please.
take some liberties. One of our things that we absolutely love is a community that we started based around one of our offerings, which is called Magic Monday. Once a month, we close our space and we open it and invite anyone who identifies as a female founder. And it's a really beautiful opportunity to come and just really nourish yourself with like-minded women. We obviously learned in the process of building Trove how easy it is to negate your own wellness.
Yeah.
And if we were able to negate it to the extent that we did while we were still existing in a space that is built entirely for wellness, we just knew that there was such a need for this community of women to come and really deeply nourish themselves. And so that's what we've started. And we would love to hear from you and add you to our mailing list.
Wow. So good.
Yeah. And I'll just add, one of the things that's been so important to us is to make it really easy for people to navigate finding what they need. And so if you know what you need, great. Go to our website, text our team, email, they'll get you set up. And if your text or your email is, I don't even know where to start, this is how I'm feeling, or this is the thing that I need, our team will really work with you to customize an experience for you.
Thank you guys so much for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for having us.
If something in today's episode resonated with you or sparked a shift, tag me on IG or send me a DM. I genuinely love hearing what lands for you. And if it spoke to you, share it or leave a quick review. It helps more women find this show and step into their own wealthy era. Until next time, lead with purpose, live with intention, and stay wealthy.